Hello, my fellow YouTubers and subscribers, and welcome to this very surprisingly unexpected video. I wasn't initially going to do something like this, but then it wasn't until I posted my thank you video for earning 700 subscribers that I thought to myself, well, I'll do a Q&A, because one of my subscribers, Sam Harrison, actually suggested me doing this. He said, "Oh, are you going to do a Q&A?" And I did say no. To begin with, but I thought about it and I thought, you know what, I'll do a Q&A. Totally spur of the moment, totally unplanned. I thought I'll do it live and see how it goes. Before, I've done in the past Q&A videos where I've actually given my audience time to submit me questions, but you know what, I just thought to myself, I'm going to let my viewers actually ask the questions live. So just to confirm, Jack, this is a live Q&A. I hadn't told anyone about this, so ask me questions as we go along. Just to give you a brief outline of what I'm going to do. Before you start asking me questions, guys, I'm just going to say this video will roughly go for an hour, depending on how many people join in and how many questions I get. I'll see how it goes. But I won't make it any longer than maybe 2 hours. Otherwise, that's a bit of a stretch. So if you want to, and by the way, if you're watching this not live, then sorry, I won't be able to answer any questions. But if you're watching this live, then please ask questions in the live chat. I did a shout out video for my subscribers on my channel, so you can check that out. So yeah, let's go ahead. Let's not waste any time. I've already got 5 viewers, so let's do this. Okay, so first on the list, Jack the Film Fanatic. Can I ask some questions? Yes. Sam Harrison, who is your favorite Gavin and Stacey character? Now that's a good question. I have seen Gavin and Stacey actually. Oh, that's a tough one. I love Gavin and Stacey. It's a great show. Will I review it? Maybe, maybe not. I don't know. Oh. God, I don't know. That's a difficult question. I really like Stacey, actually. I really do like Stacey. I think she's a really sweet character. I don't know. Bryn is also really good. I like Bryn. He's very funny. Smithy is okay. I'm gonna have to say Nessa. Nessa is my favorite Gavin and Stacey character. The characterization that Ruth Jones has for that character is amazing. The Welsh accent is brilliant. The way she's so kind of stoic and stone cold, and she goes, "Oh," and "Oh, Neil, the baby." It's just brilliant. I may have to review Gavin and Stacey one day, but Nessa, yeah, or Vanessa as they call her, but Nessa, or as they call her. I think she's probably my favorite character. What is your favorite TV show? Well, my favorite TV show is probably Doctor Who, but not the latest series with Jodie Whittaker. Pretty much Doctor Who, classic series and new series up to Peter Capaldi. Doctor Who was kind of the TV show I've watched the most. I also do like the show Primeval, and I've reviewed that, but Doctor Who is my favorite show simply because I grew up with it, and it kind of showed me that, you know, there are endless possibilities with fantasy. You know, it could take you anywhere in time and space. It could do anything. It just seemed like a show that had infinite possibilities, and it could do anything. Obviously, it comes to a point when quality becomes very inconsistent. But, you know, I still love it. I still really do love it, or at least the parts of it that I love. You know, not so much Jodie's era. I'm sorry to any fans of Jodie. Fair enough, you're entitled to your opinion, but I just don't support the female Doctor. I'm sorry. Okay. Is Fantastic Beasts, from Harry Thomas, sorry. Is your Fantastic Beasts 3... Oh, sorry, I should say, that previous question, the previous 2 questions were from Sam Harrison. Harry Thomas, is Fantastic Beasts 3, sorry, your most anticipated movie of 2021? Not really, no. I've kind of fallen out of interest with the Fantastic Beasts movies. I mean, I will go and see it. I like the series. I like the first film a lot more. The second film, The Crimes of Grindelwald, was kind of all over the place. I did a review of it, and I changed my rating to 6 out of 10. So I'd give the second one a pass, but it's the lowest rating I've given to one of the Wizarding World films, I should say. So it has reduced my interest in the series, but I'll go and see the third one. I want to see how the 5 films fit together, but yeah, I'm not as excited for it as when I saw the first film. I don't know what my most anticipated film of 2021 would be, actually. There's so many things coming out. I'll have to get back to you on that. News 2-Step Entertainment. Thank you for the questions. What is your least favorite Indiana Jones movie? My least favorite Indiana Jones movie is Kingdom of the Crystal Skull, because I think the plot is stupid. I've done reviews of all the Indiana Jones movies and a ranking, but Kingdom of the Crystal Skull, I don't hate it. I actually like it. Well, parts of it. I just think there's some stupid shit in it. Like, yeah, the nuclear fridge, okay, yeah, that's kind of a problem. But the stuff with the aliens, it feels like a movie that was directed by George Lucas, and I stand by that opinion. It just, to me, as well, Harrison Ford is too old to play Indiana Jones at that point. They should have just kept it as a trilogy. I just think they were out of their depth doing the 4th movie. I won't go into a long charade about it, but watch my review if you want the extended thoughts. Jack the Film Fanatic, do you think No Time to Die will be pushed back, as Wonder Woman is going to be pushed back to December? There are also some concerns about a second wave. Yes, there are concerns about a second wave, but Wonder Woman has only been delayed by 2 months. So I'm confident that No Time to Die will remain in November. But if it does delay, it will only be because of an increase in the virus. I guess we'll have to see. I mean, there is a slight increase in the virus at the moment, so we'll have to just wait and see. We'll have to wait and see. I can't say for certain, but my hope is, fingers crossed, it does release in November. I mean, Tenet has come out and it's doing very well. So even with the second wave, I think, depending on the amount of cases there are, I think we'll just have to wait and see. We'll have to play it by ear. But I know that the producers are keen to get it out in November. So they don't want to delay it any more than we want it delayed. So fair enough. Sam Harrison, what is your least favorite movie and why? That's a tough question. I've seen a lot of shit films in my time. At the moment, I'm probably going to have to say the 50 Shades movies, and I've yet to see the third one. I'm sorry, Harry Thomas. I'll get to the third one. I will. I promise. But the first 2 50 Shades films combined, they are probably the worst movies I've ever seen. Well, that and Food Fight as well. Food Fight is the worst animated film I've seen, but 50 Shades is just, it's awful. It's inconceivable. The whole thing is a fan fiction, and it was based on something that was created as a fanfic from Twilight. And I haven't reviewed the Twilight movies yet, and I will at some point, but 50 Shades is so much worse. It's not even a romance story. It tries to pass itself off as a romance, but it's not. The first film is a story about domestic abuse. I mean, that's basically what it is. I mean, to be fair, though, Anastasia Steele is about as dumb as you can possibly be. The fact that she falls for this guy is ridiculous. And then, Christian Grey is just the most unlikable character in movie history. I'm not going to go into why, because I don't want to start a long rant about that, but I have ranted on both the first 2 films, and I'm going to rant on the third one. I'm pretty sure I'm not going to like it. I mean, if I didn't like the first 2, I won't like the third. But, yeah, probably those. Okay, Awesome Productions. I know I already asked you this about Infinity War, but what do you think were the most epic moments, funniest moments, and saddest moment in Avengers Endgame? That's a good question. Okay, most epic moment, I would say, is when all of the heroes are together and they all charge. When Captain America grabs the hammer and he says, "Avengers Assemble," and they play the theme and they're all charging into battle. That's pretty epic. And also the fight with Thanos, with Iron Man, Thor, Captain America all fighting Thanos. That is brilliant. Funniest moment... That's tough. There's a lot of funny moments. I don't know. I think the Hulk was quite funny in Avengers Endgame. I can't pinpoint an exact moment because I can't remember. It's a 3-hour-long movie, but there were several funny moments in that film, mostly from the Hulk. And saddest moment. Well, of course, the saddest moment is at the very end, which I won't spoil it for people who haven't seen the film, but when a certain character meets his or her fate, lol. Well, not lol, sorry. That's sensitive. So, yeah, I need to just scroll up for a sec. Sam Harrison, what is your favorite sitcom and why? Okay. It's a good one. I've not seen a lot of sitcoms. I've seen a bit of Only Fools and Horses as well. I'd say at the moment it might even be The Vicar of Dibley. it's a show that I watched actually when I was a kid, funny enough. And some people I knew who I do some amateur theatre in my spare time, and some of them put on a production of it. So it was great to see, like, with the script from the TV show. It's just such a funny show, and I like that it had a female protagonist as a vicar, Dawn French. It was just a very funny show with some great characters, and there were some emotional storylines, some hard-hitting storylines. There was a whole episode dedicated to poverty. It was one of the last episodes they ever made, but it was very powerful. They watched a video about poverty, and they were trying to get this poverty campaign going, and it was really, really, really good. So it's a shame that it finished, but it didn't overstay its welcome. So I appreciate that, and I think I have it on DVD somewhere, or it's definitely on Netflix. It's a very funny show. I would encourage all of you to watch it. It's really good. Obviously, if you're not in the UK, then you probably can't watch it. But anyway, okay. Dinobot Kuryu. Sorry if I pronounced that wrong. How's it going? Yes, not too bad, thanks. Yeah. Yeah, unfortunately my sister is in hospital at the moment, but that's another matter entirely. Don't worry, it's nothing too bad, but it's some stomach problems. That's all I'll say. Hello, Lauren. Yes. What's your favorite food? Oh god, that's a good question. I mean, you can tell that I like my food. So well, my favorite meal, I'll go with my favorite meal. My favorite meal is probably spaghetti bolognese. I've always loved it. I don't know why, whether it's the way that my parents made it or just I don't know. I just love it. I just think it tastes so nice. And, I will never have it in a restaurant too often because it's never as good as it is at home. And I always find, the ones that you get in the shop, the sort of like microwave ones, they're never that good because they're always so sloppy. They look like such a mess, and I could never, I could never deal with that. But yeah, no, so it's probably spaghetti bolognese. Oh, hello, Hanok. Nice to see you. Jack, the film fanatic. Are you looking forward to reviewing the Colin Baker era soon? Yes and no is the answer to that. No, because I've heard it's shit, and yes, because if it is shit, which it probably will be, you might get some more rants out of me. So, all for the entertainment industry. Excuse me. Harry Thomas, do you think the Mulan remake will suck? Possibly. Well, actually, I should mention before I continue, I know Mulan is actually available on Disney Plus at the moment, and I have Disney Plus, but it is only available through Premier Access, so I'd have to pay an additional 20 quid to watch it in the UK. I don't feel like paying money to see it, because Disney have said in December that they are dropping the charge, and it will just be available to watch for free, so screw it. I'm just going to wait till December, so I will review the Mulan remake, but it's probably not going to come till December, so just to let you guys know. But I mean, I've heard mixed things about the movie so far. A lot of people don't like it. Some people have said it's okay, and some people don't mind it. I listened to some of the soundtrack, and it's not too bad. I was never that excited for it to begin with, so yeah, I think it could suck. It's kind of a 50-50 for me. I think at best the film might be okay or decent, but I don't think it's going to be a masterpiece. Okay, Laura, 50 Shades is something else. Yeah, it is. I've read that a Miami Vice TV reboot is in the works next year. What do you think about that? From Henok Gegbrid Gerris. I've never actually seen any Miami Vice TV shows or movies, so I have no opinion on that, unfortunately. But if you're excited about that, then good for you. Sam Harrison. Why do you prefer Tom Baker to Troughton as the Doctor? Tom Baker, for me, just embodies the Doctor so much more. I mean, Troughton is amazing. I love Patrick Troughton. Tom Baker had a longer run as well. I believe he had more classic stories in his era. And also, a lot of his stories aren't missing. So that's another thing. But Troughton isn't far behind. I'd probably rank Troughton just under Tom Baker, actually, in my ranking. I will rank the Doctors. When I've reviewed Peter Capaldi, I'm going to rank all 12 Doctors. Sorry, no Jodie, but again, I'm not supporting Jodie. But Tom Baker, for me, he was the funniest. He was one of the funniest Doctors. I mean, David Tennant is my favourite Doctor, but Tom Baker is second. He was funny. He was witty. He could be very dark and very serious. Troughton was more goofy, I think, than, and he had less serious moments, but I still think Troughton is an amazing Doctor. So it's very close. It's very close for me between them. Sam Harrison, have you seen any of the Basil Rathbone Sherlock Holmes films? No. It's the short answer to that. Sam Harrison, who is your favorite SpongeBob character? I don't know. That's a difficult one. I like a lot of the SpongeBob characters, actually. Maybe SpongeBob himself. Although Patrick is quite funny. I like Patrick. I mean, he's an idiot, but he's funny. A lot of the characters are good in SpongeBob. Lauren210. Hi, Lauren. Least favorite Harry Potter character, excluding Umbridge and the Dursleys. Voldemort, I guess. Voldemort is pretty bad. Or Lucius Malfoy. Actually, he's another one I don't like. I think he's a nasty piece of work. He's just very. I mean, he's sly. He's very deceptive. I mean, he causes the whole, issue with Ginny Weasley in the second story in the Chamber of Secrets. He gives her slyly. He puts the diary in a cauldron pot, and then she gets possessed by Tom Riddle, and etc. etc. The Chamber of Secrets story happens. So. Yeah, and he's got a bit of a brat of a son as well. So I think Draco Malfoy and Lucius are pretty unlikable. Although Lucius ends up becoming a bit disgraced as the series goes on. And then as the series goes on, Draco becomes a little bit more vulnerable. So, I mean, both the characters change, but to begin with, they are very unlikable. So I'd probably say them. But, I mean, I suppose Voldemort, just because he is... he's kind of evil incarnate, but that's not his own fault. If you read the books, you'll know that he wasn't conceived out of love. So that's a bit of trivia for you. Thanks for the question. That was a great one. Sam Harrison, who's your favorite Bond villain so far? Okay, that's a tough question. There's a lot of great ones. I suppose Goldfinger. Even though Skyfall was my favorite movie of the series, Goldfinger, I think, is the best villain. I think he just established the most iconography from the beginning, and he was just so, he wasn't, so over the top, he was, oh, I'm so evil. I mean, over the top in the sense he had a big lair, and he had a big plan, and he had a big laser machine, but just, the way they wrote that character was brilliant, and the way Gert Frobe performed it, he was this big guy with this big accent, and... he wasn't necessarily, Bond wasn't necessarily intimidated by him physically, but he had a pretty grand scale plan as well. I think he had one of the best plans of the villains. Obviously, Blofeld is the other choice, but then you got to go into which version. So, yeah, I think Goldfinger is my favorite Bond villain so far. We'll see if Rami Malek as Safin can top that in No Time to Die. Okay, where am I up to? Harry Thomas, if Frozen 3 happens, do you think Frozen could turn out to be Disney's best trilogy? I don't know if I'd go that far, but it could be a good trilogy. I'm not really the target audience for Frozen. I like the movies, but I don't think they're amazing. The first one is probably my preferred one, but I like the second one. It was decent. So, yeah, but I mean, it could be... I won't deny it will probably be very popular, but I think that because the first movie was hyped literally from its release until the release of the second film, which was like a 6-year gap, I don't know if the hype is still maintaining or whether the hype is dying down. I don't hear a lot of hype for Frozen 2, so I don't know. I mean, some people preferred Frozen 2, which is fair enough. I personally preferred the first one, but that's just me. Okay, sorry, I might have to have a drink in a sec. Well, that's not really a question. Infinity War has got to be the longest movie apart from the usual ones. If you're talking about in the context of the MCU, actually Avengers Endgame is 3 hours long. It's longer. Sam, who is your favorite Bond girl and why? Oh, God, that's a tough one. Another tough one. For me, it's a choice between two. And I'm not saying this just because she passed away recently, but Diana Rigg as Tracy is potentially my favorite Bond girl, or Eva Green as Vesper Lynd. I mean, yes, both of them are very similar in that they are love interests for Bond. They don't just fall in lust with him, they fall in love with him. And, I mean, Tracy gets married to him, and she tragically loses her life. Vesper loses her life, but she betrays Bond. But, you know, he has a great connection with both of them. It's hard for me to really decide who is better. I'd have to do a ranking. When I've seen No Time to Die, I'm going to rank the Bond girls and give a proper list. So it's between one of them. I'm not sure who, but I need to think about that. Sam Harrison again. Is Kamal Khan one of your favorite Bond villains? Potentially. I don't know if he's in the top 10, but he is one of my preferred Bond villains. He's certainly better than Christatos. I mean, sorry, Sam, I know you like For Your Eyes Only, but I just can't get into it. I can. Okay, that's a lie. I can watch parts of it, but I don't see myself ever being a fan of Christatos. I'm sorry, but yeah, Kamal Khan is a good villain. I'd say he's pretty good. Okay, New Step Entertainment. Are you a SpongeBob fan? I would say I'm partial to it. You know, I'm not somebody who was avidly watching it, but me and my sister used to watch it quite a bit when we were younger. I feel like the show has become so tired now, a bit like The Simpsons. It's kind of overstayed its welcome, and it's kind of run its course. I liked SpongeBob up until they made the first film, and I love the film. I think the SpongeBob movie is really good, and I might review it actually at some point. I will have to review the SpongeBob film, and I have the game of it as well. But the show, I think there are times when it's just too over the top for me. I never could get into it as much as other things. I certainly prefer The Simpsons to SpongeBob, but SpongeBob is good. I would say I'm partial to it. Awesome Productions. Are you looking forward to Suicide Squad, Jurassic World Dominion, and Zack Snyder's cut of Justice League? Justice League, couldn't care. I'm sorry. I liked the movie when I first saw it, but I have no desire to really rewatch it. It didn't grab me as such, but I thought it was decent. I know that Zack Snyder wants to make his own cut, because I know he had some circumstances at the time which affected the movie. But I don't really care for the Zack Snyder cut. I'm sorry. Nothing personal. I'm not interested. Suicide Squad, again, I might be partial to it. I might go and see it, but I didn't think much of the first one. I'll have to review that. I think that's the one DC film I haven't reviewed. It's Suicide Squad. I'll have to see if I can access the film and review it for you. But in short, when I first saw it, I thought it was okay. But again, I need to look at it. I mean, Harley Quinn was easily the best thing in it. So there we go. And Jurassic World Dominion. Yeah, I actually am looking forward to that, because I was actually rather impressed by Jurassic World Fallen Kingdom. A lot of people weren't keen on it, but I actually quite liked it. And I think the ending of that one opened up some possibilities. So, and I know that they're going to reunite both the casts of the two trilogies together. So I think they're treating Dominion as a sort of a culmination, but I mean, you know, never say never when it comes to that kind of money. But I do think that it should be the last one. I can't see the story progressing much further, but at the same time, money. If the money is in the bank, then they'll carry on. Okay, just to excuse me, I might need to quickly get a drink. Oh. I didn't want to have to rush downstairs to get a drink while I was alive, so do excuse me for a moment, guys. I'll get to the rest of the questions. Just a bit parched. But thank you all so much for tuning in. There's 9 people viewing this. That's amazing. Very lucky to have got so many people watching this. Cheers. Oh, it's a bit better. Okay. Sam Harrison. Will you ever watch Batman the Animated Series? Yeah, potentially I will. I haven't got the funds to purchase it right now, but if it appears on Netflix, then I could watch it. Or unless I come into some money, then I can watch it. Yeah, I don't know if I'll review it. I mean, I find reviewing TV shows to be quite strenuous. I mean, I'm reviewing Doctor Who, and that's taken a long time, obviously, because I mean, there's loads of Doctor Who, but I haven't decided if I'm going to review any more TV shows. But I might consider watching Batman the Animated Series. Jack the Film Fanatic, your top 5 worst superhero films and your top 5 best. Oh, God. Worst? There's a good amount to choose from. This is in no particular order because I can't think of how to order them. Batman and Robin would be one of them. Despise that film. Captain America from 1990. The Roger Corman Fantastic Four movie. That's 3 of them. Oh God, Superman 4: The Quest for Peace. Undoubtedly, that is an awful film. And then one more would have to be. I'm trying to think of another one that's shit. Oh God, there's so many that are bad. Potentially X-Men Origins Wolverine. It's hard to choose. Those are 5 at the moment. And the top 5 best, in no particular order, probably The Dark Knight. Easily, that's probably one of the best or the best. Spider-Man 2. I love that film. Spider-Man 2 is amazing. Avengers Endgame. You know, quite clearly, Avengers Endgame. I don't know. Avengers Infinity War. So that's 4. That's 4, I think. What other ones are there? Wonder Woman. Yeah, maybe Wonder Woman. So those are the 5 I think I would choose. I think I've said 5. So The Dark Knight, Spider-Man 2, Wonder Woman, Avengers Infinity War, and Avengers Endgame. Yeah, probably those. Right. Okay. Dinobots Kiryu. This isn't a question, but it's funny. There's a movie called Go Now, which stars the actor who played Rumpelstiltskin in Once Upon a Time, and the actress that played Helen Cutter. Oh, okay, I didn't know that. Yeah, Juliet Aubrey. Oh, I've never actually watched Once Upon a Time. I know it's on. I think it's on Disney Plus. Actually, it's either on Disney Plus or Netflix. So I'll have to check that out. Sam Harrison. Do you like Friends? If you mean the TV show, then yeah, I don't mind it. I mean, I've never watched. I've not watched many episodes of it, but I might consider rewatching it. Well, we're rewatching the ones I've seen and watching new ones. But also, if you mean friends in my actual social friends, then yes, I do like my friends. Okay. Harry Thomas, favorite female character in American Pie? Ooh, that's a good question, actually. I am going to review American Pie 2 very soon. Sorry for the delay with that. Thinking over the 4 films, you know, I mean, it's hard to say because obviously not all the female characters are in every single film. I think I've got 2 choices possibly. I really like Heather from the first film. I think she's just so sweet. She's someone who I would have chosen. Out of all the females, I would have probably chosen her because she's sweet. She's genuine. She's very attractive as well, which is another thing. But I think she's very sweet. And also Michelle. I think both of them together. I can't decide between the 2 of them. Maybe Michelle because she features more in the series. How she actually starts out as this kind of weird girl who's into her band camp, and then her and Jim actually do fall in love, which is really nice. And then in the 3rd film, she's going to marry him, which, I mean, again, I'm not going to go into too much detail because I'm going to review sequels very soon. But yeah, probably Michelle and then Heather as well. Sam Harrison, what would you say is the most overrated and underrated Doctor Who story that you've seen so far, and why? Oh, so many to choose from. Overrated story. I do think the Androids of Tara is overrated. The Demons is slightly overrated, but I still really like it. I actually think the Doctor's wife story in Matt Smith's time is actually very overrated. I've never been a huge fan of that story. It's okay. Like I found parts of it all right, but parts of it didn't make sense to me. I mean, perhaps I'll have to watch it again when I review it. But yeah, I never really was a huge fan of it, but everyone raved about it. And most underrated Doctor Who story, The Underwater Menace, I would say, in Patrick Troughton's era. I know it's missing partially, but I kind of like it. It's silly, zany, it's over the top, but I like it. And I just thought it was very creative with the Atlantis and the underwater world. And I thought they did a great job at creating that. I think it's a fantastic story. I know I might get some hate for that, but it's just my opinion. Sam Harrison again. Do you like gangster films? Yeah, so. I'm partial to them. I'm not a huge fan of them. I guess I find the gangster films to be kind of samey on some occasions. I mean, I saw a film called Gangster Squad a few years back, which was okay. It wasn't anything to write home about, but it was all right. Lauren, top 5 favorite Disney films from 2000 to present. Oh God, so many questions. So many questions. Ugh. If you mean Disney as in like generally Disney or Disney animation, then I guess I'll go with either that. Oh God, I can't decide. Oh God, the film Dinosaur. Actually, I do quite like. That's a good one. Emperor's New Groove, which I haven't reviewed yet. I must talk about that because I do really like that film. Oh, I can't think of them. There's so many, so many to choose from. I like a lot of the Pixar films as well. I might have to come back to that. I can't think of anything. What else came in the early 2000s? Shit, I've gone blank. I've literally gone blank. I cannot think of anything. Maybe Pirates of the Caribbean, Curse of the Black Pearl. That's another one. And Dead Man's Chest. I like them very much. Oh, I'm gonna look at my shelf and see if there's anything that will give me any ideas. Disney animation. A lot of the Disney's things that I like are before the 2000s, but I do love the 2000s stuff as well. I'm sorry, Lauren. I'm going to have to come back to that. I can't think of anything else. I'll message you privately about that. I'm sorry. Okay. Dinobot Kiryu. Who has had more actors, James Bond or Doctor Who? Well, I guess I have to say Doctor Who, because Doctor Who's had a longer run. Well, I say that. It's a sort of similar run, but James Bond is films and Doctor Who is a TV show. So Doctor Who has had more episodes. There's been more on-screen Doctor Who than there has been James Bond. So it's Doctor Who by a landslide. Oh, hello, Jared Griffiths. Sam Harrison, favorite and least favorite Matt Smith Doctor Who story. Least favorite Matt Smith Doctor Who story, Let's Kill Hitler. Fucking awful. I hate that story. I mean, it's not even a story. That story is a convoluted mess. It is 45 minutes of mindfuckery. It makes no sense. They literally they chuck Hitler in the cupboard within the first 10 minutes. And then there's this whole spiel about River Song, and they named their daughter after their daughter. I'm like, what the hell? They introduced this Mel character who was apparently a friend of theirs who we never saw in the previous season. And then she regenerates as well. It's, oh God, Moffat, just what the fuck? I mean, it's a confusing mess. It really is. But Matt Smith and the cast give it their all. But I hate that story. I really hate that story. And favorite Matt Smith story. Oh, that's a tough one. Thinking about his seasons, series 5 is probably his best one. Is his best series. I don't know, actually. The Girl Who Waited is one of my favorite Matt Smith stories. I really like that one, although Matt Smith doesn't do a lot in it. I might have to say Amy's Choice. Amy's Choice could be my favorite Matt Smith story. I liked the concept of that. It was a bit like Inception with Dreams Within a Dreams. And it was actually kind of released. Well, we'll say kind of released. It was aired around, I guess, the time when Inception was going to release in 2010. So that was kind of ironic anyway. And Toby Jones was in that story. So I'd probably say that. Henok Brad Garris. Well, anyway, do you consider Captain Marvel to be perfect or less so? I mean, it's notorious for Brie Larson's radical feminist views, no doubt about it. Well, yeah. Yeah, I mean, putting Brie Larson aside, the character of Captain Marvel, I don't consider it to be perfect. I don't really consider any character to be perfect. No character is angelic. Captain Marvel, the film, it didn't grab me as such, but I thought it was passable. But I won't agree with some of the stuff that Brie Larson said in public. But we won't shout about that here. Yeah, the character. I mean, I think she can be very blunt at times and a bit, too trusting maybe of people. I don't really know. I'm not that interested in Captain Marvel as a character, to be honest. And I think she can be very sarky with people. Like, she's very sarcastic. But yeah, anyway. Harry Thomas Pictures. Do you agree Grindelwald is better villain than Voldemort? No. Sorry, Harry. I don't agree with that. I think Voldemort is a better villain than Grindelwald. Grindelwald hasn't really had much of a chance to flourish or be fleshed out in the Fantastic Beasts movies yet. Obviously, there's Harry Potter lore that we all know about, like the whole Dumbledore Grindelwald thing. I think Grindelwald is an interesting character. Don't get me wrong. I'm not saying he's terrible. And I like the kind of the the exploration into his and Dumbledore's relationship in the Harry Potter lore, which I know we will see in the forthcoming Fantastic Beasts movies. But Voldemort to me is just much more of a presence. I mean, I guess he's kind of like Hitler, really, in a way. But it's interesting as well that Voldemort, almost didn't become evil out of his own. Well, yes, out of his own choice, but he was deprived of love. So there's that kind of emotional. He's lacking in that kind of emotional resonance there. So both are interesting, but Voldemort is my preferred. Sam Harrison, are you looking forward to reviewing McCoy after Baker? Ish. I mean, McCoy's era is not very long. It's 12 stories in 3 seasons, like 4 stories per season. But Sylvester McCoy has never really been a Doctor I've been interested in, which is odd because Sylvester McCoy is somebody who is perfect for the role because he's so eccentric. But I've just heard so many bad things about his era. So, yeah. I'm kind of looking forward to it, but I'm kind of not. I'm looking forward to it in the sense that I'll be finishing the classic era, but also it's going to be a slug to get through in terms of the quality of the stories. Jared Griffiths, what do you think of YouTubers like Fred, the Annoying Orange, and Smosh? Never seen Smosh, don't know what it is. Fred is very annoying. To be honest, I mean, again, these people have their share of fans, that's fine, but Fred, I've never liked him. Thought he was annoying. The Annoying Orange, at least the Annoying Orange is honest about being annoying. The Annoying Orange is one I would take over, but I don't watch these YouTubers religiously, so they're not really aimed for me. Anyway, so thanks for the question, though. Awesome Productions. I heard at work that a lot of people are speculating that Safin could actually be Dr. No, considering that Christoph Waltz turned out to be Blofeld in Spectre. Any thoughts? Well, I'm kind of torn on that, to be honest. 50-50. There's a chance he could be, but I'm starting to think possibly not. Because Cary Fukunaga, who's directing No Time to Die, said in a featurette that he is smarter and stronger than Spectre. So I'm starting. And Dr. No was part of Spectre in the classic films. But anyway, it's anyone's guess. I would prefer him to be his own character, but we'll see. I don't think he will be, but I could be wrong. We'll see. Lauren 210, worm tongue or worm tail? Oh, that's a good question. In terms of, I don't know if you're asking me which one I prefer or which one is worse. In terms of which one I think is worse, probably worm tail. Which one I prefer? Probably worm tongue, because worm tongue in Lord of the Rings, he's not all bad. He actually suffers some abuse and mistreatment from Saruman. And, you can understand why he kills him in Return of the King. In the extended edition, Wormtongue gets a knife out and stabs Saruman, and he kills him. So Wormtongue, he's someone who he's a normal man, and he's just been led astray by the forces of evil. Whereas Wormtail, he doesn't regret what he's done. He's a coward. He went to the Dark Lord Voldemort, and he made no apologies for betraying Harry's parents. So I think Wormtail, is more despicable. Jack, the film fanatic, do you think Donald Trump will get re-elected? What's your opinion on Joe Biden? Apparently Trump is closing the gap on the polls. I'm not from the US, so I don't have a huge opinion on this, but there's every chance he couldn't he, Trump, to get re-elected. I really hope that he doesn't. I don't have a lot to answer with that question, unfortunately. I'd say Joe Biden potentially is the lesser of two evils, but who knows? Sorry to be so vague. Sam Harrison, who is your favorite Doctor Who villain, not including monster groups? That's a tough question. There's so many. God. It's definitely not Kronos from the Time Monster. It's definitely not him. Oh God, that is a tough question. Potentially, oh, I forget the character's name, but Julian Glover in City of Death. He's a great villain. Oh, so many. There's so many. Soul Deed, because he's hilarious. But oh God, there's so many. I can't answer any more than that. I've gone blank. I can't remember. Davros, potentially. Davros is the best villain, I would say. Maybe, I mean, he is obviously part of the Daleks, but he's the creator. So, I mean, Davros could be an option there. Okay, Jared Griffiths, what are your thoughts on Family Guy? Yeah, I like Family Guy. I mean, I haven't watched a lot of it, but I like Seth MacFarlane. I think Seth MacFarlane is a very funny guy. He's very talented. He can do many voices. He's a very good vocal artist. He's someone who inspires me, actually. But in terms of Family Guy, for some reason, I've never sat down and watched the whole season of it. I've seen the odd episode here and there, but yeah, I've seen more of the films that Seth MacFarlane has made, like Ted and Ted 2 and stuff. Not seen A Million Ways to Die in the West, but yeah, and I know that Seth MacFarlane, he's also a very intelligent guy. But Family Guy, yeah, I think it's good. I mean, from what I've seen of it, I think it would be good maybe if I tuned into more of it. Jack the Film Fanatic. Peter Sellers as Clouseau, Alan Arkin or Steve Martin as Clouseau. Who's the best for you, and do you have a run? Yes, I do. You can see I have a run. But yeah, Peter Sellers, without a doubt. I mean, is that a trick question? I mean, Peter Sellers is the only actor to ever play Clouseau. I don't get me wrong. I appreciate the efforts of Steve Martin and Alan Arkin, but they were just doing impressions of Peter Sellers. They were never going to recapture the same magic. I mean, it's slightly different with Steve Martin because he was doing a more modern day film. They were sort of making a film set in the 21st century, or sorry, 2 films, I should say. But Alan Arkin just annoyed me. Steve Martin, I guess, was kind of annoying in a way, but I respect both of them, but the films surrounding them weren't very good either. So, yeah, Sellers is easily the best Clouseau for me. Jack, the Film Fanatic, can you review Power Rangers Dino Thunder? Computer says no. Multi Danny Boy 89, which MCU film have you seen the most? Ooh, that's a good question. I've gone back to Black Panther a few times. I recently rewatched it in memory of Chadwick Boseman. But the one I've seen the most, ooh, probably one of the Iron Man films, actually. Potentially the first Iron Man. Or Avengers Infinity War, I've seen quite a lot. Looking at the Marvel films on my shelf. Guardians of the Galaxy, the first one, I've seen quite a bit. I don't know. I'd have to think about that. But possibly Guardians of the Galaxy, I think. Where am I up to? Oh God, Sam Harrison. Have you seen the Carry On film series? Unfortunately, not. I've seen bits of them on TV, and I mean, I'd have to if I were to review them. My God, it would take me bloody 2 years. There's so many of them. Okay, Jack the Film Fanatic. Do you think you'll ever review the Dirty Harry films? They star the legend Clint Eastwood. Yeah, I'll consider that in the future. I have no plans to at the moment, but maybe in a year or so. I've got a few other things to do for the channel first, but yeah, I would be open to reviewing them. Jared Griffiths, what's your least favorite scene in the Night at the Museum trilogy? Oh God, least favorite scene has to be in the second film when that guy dressed as Darth Vader turns up with the Muppet in the bin. Oh God, it's so cringy. I cannot stand it. I've done a sort of a mini rant really on the second Night at the Museum movie. And the favorite scene in Night at the Museum, that's difficult. It'd definitely be in the first one somewhere. Probably, I don't know actually. There's quite a lot of scenes in the first one which I like. Maybe the scene when Larry comes back to the museum on his, I think it's his second or third night, and he comes with all the stuff that he's got from all the different places, and he's finally getting more confidence in himself. Or actually the scene when at the end when he's riding the horse in the Central Park on the snowy night when he's chasing Cecil, Dick Van Dyke, because then that's his character growth. He's finally got some courage and he's able to to stop him and everything, which I do like. And also any scene with him and his son is nice because it's emotional, isn't it? Have you seen Friday Night Dinner from Sam Harrison? No, I haven't. Jack the Film Fanatic, have you seen Blackadder or Fawlty Towers? I've seen like 1 or 2 episodes of Blackadder, but it was a long time ago. I'd have to have to rewatch it, and I haven't seen Fawlty Towers. Jack the Film Fanatic, any interest in the PS5? That's kind of how I feel. I mean, the price of it will be too expensive anyway. I will only be interested in it if they make a game that I would be interested in. I don't game that much, hence why I don't do many video game reviews. I have reviewed a few things like The Last of Us 1 and 2 and Uncharted, etc. I don't game that much, so it depends if there's a game I want, but I don't think I'll be getting it for a few years. It's too expensive. Okay, Sam Harrison. Have you seen Porridge and the New Statesman? No, I haven't. Jack the Film Fanatic, your opinion on our current Conservative government? I don't really like to talk about politics, to be honest. I'm not very good at talking about it, so I can't really answer that question, unfortunately. Sorry. Awesome Productions. At this point, do you think we'll ever actually see Primeval come back? And on that topic, whatever happened to the anniversary special you were to be a part of? Well, I can't really say for the anniversary special because the guy I was in touch with, who cast me in the film, he seems to have delayed it, or he seems to have had problems making it. He's had to find the time to do it, and he was doing stop motion animation, so it could be ages. I don't know if it's ever going to happen. He hasn't been in touch with me recently, but it seems to have gone a bit up in the air, which is a shame because I was really looking forward to it, and I was voicing 3 characters in it, so that was something to be excited about. And in terms of the actual UK show, I don't think it's going to come back. As much as I'd like it to come back, I think it ran its course. The first 2 series were great, and they are my favourite. Series 3 was good, but it was a bit all over the place. 4 was okay, and 5 was crap. By the end of Series 5, it got so convoluted that I kind of stopped caring about it, to be honest. So I don't feel like I want to revisit Series 4 and 5. I mean, I have the collection just, to say I have it, but Series 1, 2, and sometimes 3 I go back to. But I don't see the show coming back. I mean, there are a surprising amount of fans, but I just don't think the writing's been good enough. And it needs a new set of writers to really take it on, I think. And obviously it needs a budget because of the effects. But I would, if it came back, I'd love to see it. Sam Harrison, favorite country that Bond has been to? Oh, that's a good one. That's a very good one. In Casino Royale, when he goes to the Bahamas, I like that, the Bahamas, because my nan used to talk about going to the Bahamas. It's a lovely, exotic country. Jamaica, I think, as well. Jamaica's a classic place to go. Like in Live and Let Die, when he goes to Jamaica. I love that. And I know we're going to see Jamaica in No Time to Die as well. I think also Scotland, just because it was, Skyfall, his childhood home. So that's another one. Okay, Henok, have you seen The Magnificent Seven? So do you prefer the remake or the original? Unfortunately, I haven't seen either of them, so I can't answer that question, I'm afraid. Sam Harrison, favorite Bond set and why? Oh, God, so many. I don't know. There's great ones. There's the Moonraker space set. There's the Spy Who Loved Me set with Stromberg's ship. There's You Only Live Twice in the rocket silo. On Her Majesty's Secret Service, Blofeld's Lair. Potentially that one, On Her Majesty's Secret Service, the set Blofeld's Lair. I really do like that. I mean, the rocket silo as well, and You Only Live Twice. So between them two, I think it's one of those two. They're gorgeous, visually very gorgeous. Jack the Film Fanatic, British comedy or American comedy, which is better? I like both. I mean, I can't decide. I mean, I'm inclined to say British because I am British, but then I would be accused of being biased. So I'm just going to say both. Awesome Productions. Have you seen His Dark Materials, the BBC version, and that A Christmas Carol from last year. I didn't see The Christmas Carol, but I saw its Dark Materials, and I know that the second season is on its way. I didn't see the Dark Materials show when it first aired, but I watched it on Blu-ray, and I was amazed. I was like, wow, this is really good. Because the film they tried to make of the first book, The Golden Compass, was it was a disaster. I mean, it was a flop, and it was very badly made, and it didn't end in the right way. And I thought they really treated that first season very well, and they gave it the attention it needed, and it had a surprisingly good budget. I mean, the look of some of the costumes were very similar to the Golden Compass film, but I thought that the storytelling was much better, and it was much more consistent. I've never read the books. I own the books. I should read them, but I haven't. I'm not much of a reader, so I'll have to do that. But I know the second season is on its way, so yeah, I look forward to that. Lauren 210, do you plan on watching Avatar: The Last Airbender? If you mean the TV series, then probably not. It's not something that interests me. The film, I might watch the film to rant on it, potentially, because I've heard that the film is terrible, but we'll see. Dinobots, I know I've mentioned Primeval a lot, but they are the first videos I saw of yours. I thought of asking, what's one element that you think would have made the experience the later seasons better? That's fine. You mention it as much as you want. I think the writing, that's the clear thing. After series 2, it got really convoluted. Series 3 was still enjoyable. There were some good, enjoyable episodes, but the overall story arc of Series 3 got very convoluted. Characters were leaving, characters were dying. They screwed it over so much, and it became very hard to follow. It got worse in Series 4 and 5, to the point where actually I think people just lost interest. I lost interest by Series 4. I mean, I was kind of dwindling. I thought Series 4 was all right, but yeah, thinking about it, I don't know if I'd go back to Series 4 and 5. They're just not very good. So I think the writing needed to get a new team of writers when they decided they were going to keep Primeval on. Well, they were going to switch it to, I think at the time it was Watch was the channel. Well, no, they had Series 4, on ITV, but then they switched Series 5 to Watch. They should have got a new team of writers, but anyway. Harry Thomas, DreamWorks or Pixar? I'm going to have to say Pixar. I like DreamWorks, but their quality has been a bit inconsistent at times. They've made some crap movies. Trolls, need I say more? Pixar, okay, I mean, Pixar have had a few duds in their time, but they are generally very good. I think that they always go from the heart, and they always try and plug the emotional chord into their films, which I appreciate. And I think their ideas have been genuinely amazing. Like Inside Out is my favorite Pixar film, for the ideas that it has, and the way it executes them. I just think, Pixar treats its audience with more intelligence. DreamWorks have made some classics as well. I'm not going to deny that, but I just think Pixar's movies are more clever, personally. Sam Harrison, favorite and least favorite Capaldi stories so far? Well, just to be clear, I haven't seen Series 10, well, not all of it. So that's going to be difficult. Worst Capaldi story, easily Hellbent. Not because of him, but the writing was just awful. The best Capaldi story, that's a difficult one. I might actually have to say Into the Dalek. I really like that. It reminded me of Fantastic Voyage, the film. That was a really good one. Okay, we're on 53 minutes. We'll keep going for a bit longer. Most annoying Doctor Who character. Oh, there's a few. It's, in the earlier years, there's a character called Milo Clancy in one of Patrick Troughton's stories called The Space Pirates. He talks in this southern drawl for the entire story. He thinks he's some radio Annie Oakley or something. It's ridiculous, and it gets really annoying. He is the Jar Jar Binks of the 60s Doctor Who. It's true. But there's also a character in John Pertwee's era called Alpha Centauri, who appears in the Peladon stories, who talks in this really high-pitched voice. Woo! It looks like Mike Wazowski from Monsters, Inc. with a big eyeball and has curtains and has like these weird arms. I mean, it's a really cheap design, but the character is annoying. So it's between those two, probably. And in terms of the new series, I don't really know. I don't know. I'm not sure. I haven't really thought about that actually. If there is a majorly annoying character in the new series, don't know. I suppose potentially Clara, but that's another story. Okay, Lauren 210. For me, my top 5 Disney favorite films are Treasure Planet, Tangled, Lilo and Stitch, Atlantis, The Lost Empire, and The Princess and the Frog. Oh yes, Lilo and Stitch. That's another one I should have mentioned. Thank you for reminding me. Sam Harrison, least favorite Doctor Who villain that you've seen and why? Oh, Sam, I don't know. Oh, there's so many choices. Oh God, when it comes to Doctor Who, it's hard because there's so many stories that I've seen. Oh God. I guess potentially Soldeed, but then again, he is hilarious. I know it's technically the Master, but Khalid from Time Flight is another one. Actually, the villains in the Leisure Hive, they were terrible. I'd probably say them at the moment. I can't think of anyone else, so I'm sorry. Okay, Alan Kalo. Oh, thanks, Alan, for the message. That's very kind. And Alan, feel free to ask me a question if you wish. Lauren 210. Dinosaur and Brother Bear would be honorable mentions. Yeah, Brother Bear's another good one. I don't think it's a classic, but I like it. I think it's good. I mean, I haven't seen it for years, so just going from memory, I'll probably like it more in a rewatch. But Dinosaur, I think, is very underrated. Sam Harrison, do you prefer Monarch or Mestor as a Doctor Who villain and why? I can't remember who they are, so I'm sorry, Sam. I don't remember where they're from. I'll have to get back to you on that. Sam Harrison, least favorite comedy film. Thinking of one that isn't funny. I don't know. I mean, there is the film Jack and Jill with Adam Sandler where he plays himself and his sister, although I haven't seen it, but it's terrible, apparently. The film Grown Ups, which is another Adam Sandler film, I didn't like that film. I thought it was pretty unfunny. It wasn't like a major, it wouldn't be a major rant on my channel, but I was disappointed by it. So potentially that, but I haven't seen too many comedies. I don't know. Yeah. Okay. Thoughts on the TV show Sherlock? Overrated. Sorry. The BBC Sherlock show is overrated to the hilt. I don't think it's a badly made show, but I think having the episodes all at 90 minutes is way too long, and having only 3 episodes is pointless. They're just too long, and I just found them hard to get into. And I appreciate that it was a modern day version. That's fine, but the stories didn't grab me. The writing, the writing from Moffat isn't the best. I do like Martin Freeman and Benedict Cumberbatch as Sherlock and Watson. They were good, but the show itself didn't grab me, to be perfectly honest. Jack, have you ever lost enthusiasm for Bond? Not really, no. I mean, obviously, I didn't really have any enthusiasm until I became a big fan. There have been times when I've dipped out of it because I'm into other things, but I've generally had the same enthusiasm for it. So yeah, going down the list. What's the Roger Moore Bond film that you've rewatched the most? It's a good one. I'm inclined to say Moonraker, actually. I guess because it has that sort of Star Wars vibe to it. Live and Let Die, I've actually watched quite a few times. So actually, no, it's Live and Let Die. I've watched that one quite a lot, even though I think The Spy Who Loved Me is better, slightly better. I think Live and Let Die is the one I've seen the most. Hanok Gabriel Garris, favorite Bond score and why? Ooh, it's a tough one. Again, gonna have to rank the Bond scores at some point. On Her Majesty's Secret Service is a good choice. That one is potentially my favorite. You Only Live Twice is another contender. What else is there? Obviously, there's some of the Daniel Craig ones are quite good. Yeah, potentially You Only Live Twice or On Her Majesty's Secret Service. Between those two, not sure. I know I go between two, but I struggle to decide sometimes. Sam Harrison, do you drive? No, unfortunately, I don't drive, but I do. I've had driving lessons in the past, but because of COVID, I've stopped them for a while. So I will go back to them at some point. Also, it's very expensive to learn how to drive. I'm actually not too bad. I can do the basic maneuvers, but I did do a theory test and I failed it, so I need to start that again. Harry Thomas, since you reviewed Until Dawn, will you play and review Detroit Become Human? That's my favorite game of all time. Yes, I will do that, Harry. I know that my sister has the game, so she could lend it to me if she doesn't mind, and I might play it and see how it goes. I've heard good things about it, so I did like Until Dawn very much. So, yeah. Sam Harrison, worst and best performance by a Doctor so far. I think probably the worst is Colin Baker in The Twin Dilemma. Again, I haven't seen much of Sylvester McCoy, so I can't compare. Probably Colin Baker in The Twin Dilemma. I don't hate Colin Baker as the Doctor, but I just don't really care for his Doctor. I find his Doctor to be confusing and too aggressive like, at points, just way too aggressive. Best performance by a Doctor for me has to be David Tennant. Probably Human Nature, The Family of Blood, when he's playing John Smith as well, and he's giving his emotional performance. There's a moment when he breaks down in The Family of Blood and he says, I just want to be John Smith, I just want to be him. That moment gets to me. I think Tennant had a lot of emotional scenes when he played the Doctor, so probably that. But also Tom Baker had some great performances too. In the Key to Time season, Armageddon Factor, when he gives that speech about the key to time, and we think for a moment he's turning dark, but he's not. I like that performance very much. Okay, Henok Gebregaris, any thoughts on Tenet? Well, I have reviewed Tenet, so if you want to hear my thoughts, check out the review. I'm not going to go into that now. Lauren, now, favorite Harry Potter character? Oh, God. Okay, good question. This has been one I've been thinking about a few years, actually. Like, who is my favorite Harry Potter character? Because there are so many that I like. This is going to be an interesting one. I think I'm going to go with Snape. That might sound weird at first, but because of the revelations about Snape, I think I'm going to choose him. Because I just really appreciate what he did for Harry and everything, and when it all comes out, it makes perfect sense. And I think he proved that he was a very brave man. He went through a lot for Harry because he loved his mum, and obviously he even killed Dumbledore, and that was a lot to go through. So the man has been through a lot in his life, and I really think he's truly brave. I mean, if James wasn't his father, then Harry would have had Snape potentially as another dad. And I think Snape kind of did try and assume that role a little bit, sort of from a distance, obviously. It was an interesting relationship between Harry and Snape. But yeah, Snape is my favorite character because underneath the kind of stern exterior, lies a very caring man. So yeah. Sam Harrison, favorite Doctor Who master and why? Easily Roger Delgado. He was the first one. He established the role. He was iconic. He had this sort of eeriness about him. He was very contained. He didn't always raise his voice. He approached it with a I don't know how to say it. He was almost quite scary in the way he was. He approached the role. I'm not explaining it very well, but his the way his demeanor, should we say, his exterior, his demeanor was very creepy, and I like the way he was very manipulative, and you could tell the Doctor and the Master were frenemies, and that was the beginning of that relationship. And him and Pertwee had some fantastic chemistry on screen. It was brilliant. Sam Harrison, favorite and least favorite Doctor Who outfit. Least favorite would have to be Colin Baker, because I think that the costume looks ridiculous. Not his fault, but the multicolored dream coat, the Joseph and the Technicolor dream coat, as they call it, doesn't really work. It's too campy. It's ridiculous. So I think Colin Baker should have contested that costume. I think there's been other weird costume decisions, like Peter Davison having a stick of celery on his outfit, which is really weird, bizarre. Then you've also got Peter Capaldi wearing like a hoodie and jackets. I think that's just really awful. Best costume, it's weird. I guess Tom Baker. Tom Baker in it with his scarf and the hat and the coat. You know, it's it just works. I don't know how else to describe it. It just works. Sam again. Do you like Little Britain, and if so, why? I haven't really seen much of it, so I can't really answer that question. Sam Harrison, thoughts on Mrs. Brown's Boys? Again, only seen bits of it. It's okay. You know, of what I saw of it, it was fine. It's kind of funny. Yeah, that's it. Hanok Gebregaris. Now that you've seen Tenet, will you eventually go and watch it on some cinema sometime or other? I went to see Tenet again, actually, in my local cinema with a friend who hadn't seen it yet, and it was very good. I don't know if I'll watch it a third time, but it is currently sort of the biggest release out at the moment. My local cinema haven't got too many showings now. So, I mean, if I wanted to see other films, I'd probably have to venture further out than my local. But yeah, I do really like Tenet. I would encourage anyone to go and see it. It is really good. You just got to pay attention with it. It's Christopher Nolan, of course, but yeah, you won't be disappointed. Jack, film fanatic, favorite action film? Oh, it's a very difficult question. I guess probably Skyfall. I mean, it's my favorite Bond film, so yeah, potentially Skyfall. Yeah. Sam, favorite hilariously bad movie? Now, this is a good one. There's a couple of choices. One of which I think is a guilty pleasure of mine. It's called Superhero Movie. It's one of those spoof movies, kind of like Scary Movie, Disaster Movie, and all that kind of thing. That one the one called Superhero Movie, I actually quite like that one. And also there's a comedy film called Norbit. Not many people like it. It's kind of hated. But I actually think it's really underrated. I actually find it quite funny. There was a time when we got my dad took me and my sister to watch it in the cinema, but after that, when we got the DVD, we got our family to see it, and they all loved it as well. It is silly. I mean, it's silly in places, but it's a film about a man who Eddie Murphy marries a big woman, and I mean he kind of loses his childhood love. She gets adopted because it's complicated. He meets this girl in this orphanage, which like they grow up together, and then she moves away. And then he in high school he meets this other girl called Rasputia, of all the names, and they get married, and she settles down with him. But then he realizes she's not a very nice woman, and he wants to leave his marriage, and he actually reunites with his old childhood love, Kate, her name is, and it's a bit of a romantic comedy, I guess. But Eddie Murphy plays three characters, kind of like the Nutty Professor movies. I will review Norbit because it's a guilty pleasure of mine. I actually don't hate it. I really like it. Sam Harrison, least favorite food and why? Never been a fan of mashed potato. Just don't like the consistency of it, the texture. Tomatoes, I don't like them. I don't like the juice. Cucumbers, too watery. They don't taste of anything. There's a few things I'm not really keen on, but yeah. Jack the Film Fanatic, do you think 4 or 5 year gaps will now be the norm for new Bond films? Calvin Dyson seems to think so. Well, I don't think so. I think depending on what happens with COVID, and also if No Time to Die releases this year, let's hope and pray that the November release date is official now. That's it. There's no more delays. I think they'll do their best to try and get it out sooner, but it will depend on COVID, man. I mean, you know, we've got to be realistic. We're living in a difficult time at the moment. I understand the gaps between the Daniel Craig movies have been long, and some of them have been a bit excruciating. But you know, there's various circumstances that have affected it. So I don't think it will be the norm. I don't think they intend it to be that way anyway. But it depends. There's no real way to answer that question at the moment. Lauren 210, how is your Missing DreamWorks reviews doing? Yes. Sorry, I should mention I will get back to the DreamWorks reviews. I was going to review Puss in Boots, actually, because that's on Netflix. There's a few Netflix Well, there's a few DreamWorks movies on Netflix, which I'll have to get back to at some point. Okay, Jack the Film Fanatic, can you do your best Donald Trump impression? Oh, God. Oh, we're going to build a wall. We're going to make it all safe for you. You got to wear your mask for the coronavirus. We're going to make America great again. Oh, I don't know. It's not very good, but yeah. Oh, anyway. Hockey Guy 1. What is your favorite Martin Scorsese movie? Well, I haven't seen that many of them, to tell you the honest truth, so I guess I have to go with Raging Bull. That is a great movie, which Jack, Film Fanatic, recommended to me. It's his favorite movie of all time, and I can see why. I will watch more of Martin Scorsese's movies. I think I saw Taxi Driver as well. That was a good one, but I preferred Raging Bull. That one was probably a bit better. Sam Harrison, why do you love Human Nature, The Family of Blood? I think it's a very emotional story. I think it's a really, really emotionally powerful story. I know the Doctor isn't necessarily in it very much, but that's the point. We're seeing a human version of him, and I like that they actually made the human character of John Smith a character. He has feelings, he has human emotions, he has thoughts. He doesn't want to change back. He finds, happiness and love, and he doesn't want to give that up for this stranger who he thinks about in his dreams. And I thought it was a very clever script, and I liked David Tennant's performance because it was very emotional. Again, it's pretty my favorite David Tennant performance because he just goes to places that the Doctor would not necessarily go, because now he's human. And it's also a great story for Martha, because Martha has to really carry it, and she has to really help him, convince him to change back to stop the family. So I think it's just on the basis that it's emotional, it's fantastic. And I quite like the Walking Scarecrows. I think they're quite good. It's one of my favorite stories, actually, with David Tennant. One of the really best ones. Sam Harrison again. Sam has asked a lot of questions. Why is Series 3 your favorite Doctor Who series? Well, it's got my favorite Doctor, one of my favorite companions in Martha, some of my favorite stories of the show. The three-part finale with the Master is my favorite story of Doctor Who ever. It's amazing. It's so good. Again, Human Nature, The Family of Blood. There's just so many great stories. I think it really upped the game after Series 2, because we just had 2 series of Rose, so it was nice to have a new companion. And I just felt the writing Russell really upped his game. He really did. And it was very consistent, I thought. After Series 2, I had a couple of duds here and there. So Series 3 was a much stronger series. Okay, 1 hour, 12 minutes. We'll go for a little bit longer and see how we go. My voice is getting a bit tired, so another 20 minutes maybe. Sam Harrison again. Favorite color and why? Don't have a favorite color, to be honest. I guess probably blue. Just throwing it out there. I've always kind of liked the color of blue, but I've never had a favorite as such. Do you prefer cats or dogs, and why? This is still Sam again. I'm probably gonna have to say cats. One, because I'm actually allergic to dogs. Well, certain breeds of dog anyway. I actually own a dog now anyway. But cats are more independent. I just think they're easier to manage. Dogs, you got to put a bit more effort into walking them every day and doing all that. But both are equally affectionate. As I just said, I do have a dog, but it's one of the allergy-resistant breeds, so I'm okay. I don't suffer when I'm with him. But also cats, dogs are louder, I think. Dogs bark more than cats meow, but that's just from my own experience. I'm only talking from my own experience here. Jack the Film Fanatic, are you looking forward to Chicken Run 2? Yes, I am. And I will review the original Chicken Run film. I plan to watch it and review it at some point. I know that they were going into production very soon with the second one. I'm not sure if it was delayed or not because of COVID, but I'm looking forward to it. But I've heard they're replacing the actress that voiced Ginger in the first one, which is a bit controversial. I'll probably go into that another day. Sorry, I've been talking for ages. I'm probably going to have to stop at some point. So I'm sorry if I don't get to all of the questions that are in the chat, but I'll do my best. Sorry, excuse me. Sam, favorite Bond ally, not including Felix, and why? That's a good question. I guess I like Triple X from Spy Who Loved Me because she was Bond's equal at that point, and obviously, little did she know about the death of her previous lover, but they worked very well together, and they were certainly equally matched in terms of ability. And she wasn't just a bimbo for him to sleep with. She was generally quite a tough cookie, I think, as well. And I know Lashana Lynch's character in No Time to Die is going to be someone similar, who's not really just there to sleep with him. She's there to work with him. Although she's a bit of a novice in the MI6 world, whereas Bond is a bit of an expert. He's a bit more experienced. Blimey, Sam has asked loads of questions. I mean, good on you, Sam. Good on you. Most over-the-top performance by a Bond villain and why? Potentially Jonathan Pryce. This might sound a bit harsh, but I think Jonathan Pryce as Elliot Carver is particularly over the top in Tomorrow Never Dies. But then again, the plot is quite over the top. Who else? There's no one who's really that over the top. Thinking about it now, all the villains have been pretty good. Maybe Jerome Krabe as Koskov in The Living Daylights. He was a bit over the top. I thought he was a bit too jovial at times. He wasn't a very good villain, even though I really like that film, and it's the better of the Timothy Dalton films for me. Yeah, him as the villain, I wasn't keen on him. Jack the Film Fanatic, favorite Wallace and Gromit short. Well, possibly The Wrong Trousers. I've always liked that one. Actually, no, A Matter of Loaf and Death. I know it's the newer one, but Matter of Loaf and Death, I love it. With when Wallace falls in love and then he realizes the Bakelite girl is not who she seems to be. I'm as light as a feather. I love that. So funny. Sam Harrison, why don't you like Clara? Oh, you'll hear why when I review Matt Smith's era and Capaldi's era. But in short, Clara started out okay for me in Matt Smith's era, and in Capaldi's era, it's not Jenna Coleman's fault. She's a great actress, but they wrote her to be a control freak. She literally started to dominate the Doctor. She started to sort of be really domineering. I just thought it was ridiculous, and she overstayed her welcome. She was in the show far too long, as far as I'm concerned. She should have left at the end of. Oh, sorry. I just got a message there. She should have left at the end of Series 8 when her and Capaldi were in the cafe. But no, she stayed till Series 9, which was a big mistake. And then when she left in Face the Raven, they brought her back again for Hell Bent, which it was just ridiculous. Everyone hated her character. A lot of people turned away from the show because of her. They gave her more screen time than Peter Capaldi. So, and I don't think her and Capaldi worked as a duo. She probably even could have left at the end of Matt Smith's era, really. But whatever. Oh, God, I might have to stop in a minute, guys. Thanks, Hanok, for the questions and everything. Sam Harrison, least favorite actor and why? I don't know if I have a least favorite actor. I mean, Nicolas Cage is an actor I've always felt is sort of overrated. He's someone who I think he kind of just plays himself in most things. Jason Statham is one person I don't think is a very good actor. He's just he can't do accents to save his life. I mean, if you heard him do his American accent, it's terrible. But he just plays the same characters, and he plays it with this all right gruff accent. Right, let's go and do this. He's a stuntman. He's not an actor. I just don't see. I don't think he's that talented in terms of acting. He's a good stuntman, but that's it. Dinobots, which horror movie has scared you the most? That's a good question. I haven't watched a huge amount of horror films, but excuse me, I'd probably say A Quiet Place, which I'm going to review, and the second one is coming out next year. Can't wait for that. But the Quiet Place. A Quiet Place, I think is a really scary movie. It's very clever in the way it's set itself up with the idea that they can't make a sound. These creatures kind of thrive on sound. I do get the feeling that that John Krasinski took a bit of inspiration from The Last of Us, and he kind of used the idea of the clickers from The Last of Us to be the kind of premise of, like, to be similar to the monsters that he was going to devise for A Quiet Place. So, and the story is sort of post-apocalyptic, so it is kind of similar to The Last of Us, but I still think the execution of said story is great. And as I said before, I'm a fan of post-apocalyptic films and ideas. I mean, I love The Last of Us game, the first one. I like the second, but watch my reviews for more details. I will review A Quiet Place at some point. Probably more towards next year now. There's no point me reviewing it now. When the second film is delayed, there's just no point. Okay. Who's next? Sam Harrison. Have you seen any Hitchcock films? I have. I watched For the Birds. I think it's called The Birds. I watched it in college, actually. I quite liked it. But I need to watch more Hitchcock movies, and I really should review them. I really should. And I plan to do that at some point. Sam Harrison. Do you like Psycho? I haven't seen it. Sorry. Tom. Oh, hello, Tom. Thanks for the congrats, by the way. I hope you're doing well, bud. I like the logo, by the way. Jack the Film Fanatic. Robert De Niro, Al Pacino, Jack Nicholson. Who's the best of the three? And my favorite actor. The best of the three of them. Oh God, that's typical. That is tough. They're all really good actors. Oh God, I'm inclined to say Robert De Niro. He gives an astounding performance in Raging Bull. Like, he can play. He's played some nasty characters in his time. He really has. So I might have to go with Robert De Niro, but Al Pacino is very close. He's very close. I mean, The Godfather 2, watch that to see. I mean, he plays nasty characters too. I haven't seen a huge amount of Jack Nicholson, so sorry. I mean, he's great as the Joker, but I haven't seen enough of him to sort of make the argument. So I'm going to slightly give the edge to Robert De Niro, then Al Pacino. Who's my favorite actor of all time? Well, I was thinking about this for a while, actually. I was struggling to think of who was my favorite actor of all time. This might be quite a bizarre choice, but I'm going to go with Andy Serkis. Andy Serkis, who is the king of motion capture. This guy, not just because of the motion capture, but literally, this man has, vocal talents which are unbelievable. I mean, the amount of voices he can create and the characters he plays are just incredible. I mean, he played King Kong, for God's sake. He played Gollum in Lord of the Rings. He played Caesar in the Planet of the Apes trilogy. This guy is incredible. I mean, his live-action roles are great too. And I know he also voiced the character in Flushed Away. But the guy he seems like a nice guy as well. Like, he's just a genuinely calm, quite collected bloke. He really throws himself into his art. And I think he's very dedicated. I mean, his performance in War for the Planet of the Apes is just incredible. I mean, he goes to places that I never thought he would, and he really does show how his characters evolve. And especially in Gollum, I mean, the Gollum's voice is incredible. And he's definitely become very iconic. So yeah, I'm gonna have to say Andy Serkis. Okay, I think I'll give it another 10 minutes or so. We'll see how many more questions come flying in. There might be some, as I said, that might get slightly ignored. So I'm sorry, guys. I'll do my best. Lawrence says Snape is not a bad choice. My personal favorite is Sirius. Oh yeah, Sirius is a good choice too. Sirius is also a very good choice. Sam Harrison, favorite Davison story so far and why? Earthshock, easily, because it was a, no pun intended, shock when Adric died at the very end. It was a very tragic story. It was very emotional, but the story itself was just thrilling, and it was a great return for the Cybermen. It really was, and it really was. It was brave for them to kill off a companion. I mean, they hadn't done it since, I think, Katarina in the Heart of the era, so it was brave of them to do it. So I think Earthshock so far. I haven't seen all of Davison's era yet, so we'll see what else comes in his third and final season. Sam again. Most underrated and overrated Bond villain and why? Underrated. I'd say Christoph Waltz from Spectre as Blofeld. I don't think he's as bad as everyone says. I honestly, I mean, people say, "Oh, he did nothing with the part." I mean, he wasn't in the film enough, and all this. And but I thought he was quite menacing in the scene when they do arrive at his lair and everything. And he manages to cut. Well, I'll say cut. He manages to really get under Bond's skin. I mean, he's known him since they were young. They were foster brothers. And I like he never raises his voice. He's very calm and sinister. But I'm looking forward to seeing him in No Time to Die to see what else he's gonna offer. And most overrated Bond villain, I guess maybe Kristatos, but I don't know if many people really like him. I'm not sure if he counts. I suppose Dr. No is an overrated villain. He's not in the film that much. He's not in his own film that much. He only comes in the last 20 minutes. Overrated is hard. That's a hard one. What would you say is the most hammy performance by an actor in Doctor Who? Probably Sol Deed. I forget the actor's name, but Sol Deed in The Horns of Nimon. Nimon! Oh, Nimon! It is I, Sol Deed. It's just hilarious, but in a very bad way. Sam, again, favorite and least favorite fruit, and why? Thing is about that is I'm actually allergic to certain fruits, so I don't eat every single fruit anymore. But one of my least favorite fruits has always been apples. I've never really liked apples. I mean, I'm allergic to them anyway, so I can't eat them now. But yeah, apples is probably my least favorite. My favorite fruit, I do like mangoes, although they're full of sugar. Kiwis are nice. Strawberries are nice. Bananas. I'd probably say oranges, actually, are my favorite fruit. I like oranges a lot, especially in the winter season. Dinobot, do you like Con Air? Never seen it. Can't answer that, unfortunately. Sam, do you like Austin Powers? Again, never seen it, but I'm going to review them. I've got the DVDs, and I will review them, I promise. New Two-Step Entertainment. Did you watch the fan-created web series Star Trek Continues? No, I didn't. I'm not actually that much of a Trekkie, to be perfectly honest. I've seen the movies. I've watched all of the Star Trek films, but I've never seen any of the TV series. I know, sacrilege, but I'm more of a Star Wars person. I prefer Star Wars, but I may watch the Star Trek series. I might watch the original series, and I could watch that series, actually. And I know that Netflix are doing Picard. Well, actually, no, that's Netflix aren't doing that, but there's the Picard series, and there's also Star Trek Discovery, which is going on. So, yeah, and I know they're making a fourth film with the reboot cast. So that would be interesting. But, yeah, I think the films are varied in quality. I might watch the show. I'm not a huge fan of it, but I'll give it a shot, perhaps. Okay, there's not too much more left. Sam, do you like chicken and why? Well, yeah, I really like chicken because it tastes good. I don't know how else to answer that. I usually like roast chicken the best with all the skin on, and when it's drowned in gravy, it's lovely. But dried chicken is not the best, and obviously like chicken from like fast food, obviously like KFC, that can be nice, but obviously it's coated in grease and batter. But I think a roast chicken is definitely something I do quite like. Yeah, I do actually have chicken quite a lot. My parents cook chicken quite a lot. Jack, your thoughts on the director's cut of The Godfather coming to the cinema? Apparently it has a different ending and some new footage. I would be up for seeing it. I don't know when it's going to come to the cinema, but I'll definitely go and see it on the big screen. I mean, if all three of them go on the big screen, I'll try and watch all three of them because they're great films. They really are. Even the third one. Don't let anyone tell you different. So, yeah, I'd be up for that. Lauren, oh, thank you. You like my Trump impression. I didn't even know if the movements were any good, but oh God, Sam. Oh, you want to know my Roger Moore impression? Okay. I will do a Bond impressions video at some point. Probably I might have to split it up because there's loads of characters. I'll see which ones I can do. The females will be harder to impersonate, but I'll give you a little bit of a Roger Moore impression now. I'll try and think of some of his lines. Sheer magnetism, darling. Oh, God. She's just being disarming, darling. Well, he certainly had an inflated opinion of himself. How'd you kill 5 hours in Rio if you don't samba? What a handsome craft. Such lovely lines. I'd heard the price of eggs was going up, but isn't that a little high? I hope that's okay. I mean, it's a little demo of what you will probably hear in the Bond impressions video. Jack, gun to your head, you're forced to watch Son of the Pink Panther or The Amazing Spider-Man 2. Which one do you choose and why? Oh, I probably have to say Son of the Pink Panther, just because it's shorter. It's only 90 minutes. The Amazing Spider-Man 2 is like 2.5 hours long. I don't think I could sit through that film again. Lauren, to know, favorite DreamWorks villains? Ooh. Well, obviously the fairy godmother from Shrek is one. Lord Farquaad as well is good. I forget the villain. I don't know if there's any villains in The Prince of Egypt, potentially or not. Yeah, I think the fairy godmother from Shrek 2 is probably my favorite DreamWorks villain. Jack, do you think you might review some classic British films in the future, like Ice Cold in Alex, Lawrence of Arabia, Third Man, or Brief Encounter? Yeah, I'll definitely try and review them. Yeah, I'll give them a shot. Lauren, to know. That will be my last question. Oh, you're welcome, Lauren. That's fine. Thank you. Give my voice a rest. I will go to Sam's last question, and then that will be it. So, Sam, your question of favorite Disney villain and why, I'm going to stop there. So, anyone who asks any questions after that, I'm sorry. I'm just not going to do it because I've been going for a while now, so I'm going to stop. Okay, Sam. Okay, I'll let it go on for a bit longer in case anybody else has any questions, because a lot of them are Sam. So, yeah. We'll go a little bit further on, and I'll let you know when I'm going to stop. Would you rather be too hot or too cold, and why? Funny you should ask that, because recently I've been getting sick of the warm weather, so I would rather be cold. I'm sick and tired of being hot. I mean, this summer has been very good, don't get me wrong, but because we've all had to, we've not been allowed to go on holiday because of COVID, we've had to stay at home and die in the heat. I mean, in August and July, it was pretty warm, and had the air conditioner, and the house I live in is very warm naturally anyway, so it's not nice. Yeah, but I like the winter because the air is fresh. I don't like humidity, and I hear it's going to get warmer during the week, which is annoying because it's September now. It shouldn't be this warm. It's ridiculous, but anyway. Most overrated and underrated James Bond film and why? From Sam. Most overrated Bond film, potentially GoldenEye. I like GoldenEye. I think it's a good film, and it is the best Pierce Brosnan Bond film. But for me, I don't see why some people hail it as a classic. For me, there's parts of it which are just weird, and I think Brosnan's portrayal of Bond is a bit confused. But I still enjoy it. I think it's good. To me, it's a step up from License to Kill, but it's more of a back to basics route, I suppose. And I suppose it was, the plot was really good. I like the story, and it is the one Brosnan film I would probably rush back to. But I never thought it was a masterpiece. Let's just say that. And most underrated Bond film would have to be Spectre. A lot of people have dismissed Spectre because it's not as good as Skyfall and of the Foster brother plot, which I can understand. Fair enough. You're not a fan of that, but I still think the film is really well made, and I will always defend Spectre because I think that it is underrated. I think the plot is good. I think it could serve as a build-up to No Time to Die, which I think it is entirely possible now, given what we're going to see. Hopefully, what we're going to see in No Time to Die. But and I liked Craig. He was a bit looser in his performance. I understand some of people's issues with Madeline, but I quite like Madeline as a Bond girl. We'll see what happens in No Time to Die. She's obviously got some secrets, but I think it's a really classy film, and I think Sam Mendes managed to get the feeling again of the classic era back, which is nice. Sam Harrison, do you like James Corden? He's okay. I like him in Gavin and Stacey. I think that's where I like him best. I didn't really mind him in Doctor Who, but I'm kind of indifferent towards him, to be honest. New to Step Entertainment. Did you watch Raiders, the story of the greatest fan film ever made? Unfortunately, no, I didn't. Sam Harrison, most cringy Doctor Who villain and why? I know there's a few to come, so I don't know. It's hard to say. I don't know. Probably, I mean, so far, obviously, I haven't watched Colin Baker or Sylvester McCoy's era. Probably in The Invisible Enemy. I mean, I liked the story very much, but the giant shrimp that was the villain in that was a bit ridiculous, I thought. Least favorite Doctor Who stories so far? Do you mean in terms of the whole show, or in terms of new and classic Who? If you're talking about new Who, then it's probably Let's Kill Hitler, which I've already mentioned. And in the classic series, it's probably the Leisure Hive. Yeah. The Leisure Hive, I think, is slightly worse than Time Flight because it ruins more for me. Yeah. Sam Harrison, do you like steak? Yes, I do like steak. I do quite like steak very much. There was a time I went off it, but some of the steak that you get in Weatherspoons is a bit too overdone. But there is a steakhouse restaurant that me and my family sometimes go to, which do lovely steak. So yeah, I'm really partial to it. Sam, have you seen Airplane? No, I haven't seen it. Sam Harrison, most annoying Bond character and why? Oh god, that's a good question. I guess it's probably BB. BB and For Your Eyes Only. She's very annoying. She doesn't really have a place in the film as well. They just wrote her in. She's way too young for Roger Moore, and some of the dialogue she comes out with is ridiculous. I mean, she's not in it that much, thank God. Rosie Carver is another one, although, again, I guess she's kind of annoying in her first scene. So those two are kind of annoying, really. Okay. Favorite Disney villain and why? Scar from The Lion King. Because Scar is very coercive. He's very manipulative. He psychologically damages Simba. You know, he manipulates him into thinking that he killed his own dad, which is awful. You know, so I think that's pretty despicable. So and Scar, he's very cunning, he's very clever, and I mean, he eventually gets his comeuppance, of course, but he's a villain you can easily hate. You love to hate him. Least favorite Disney villain and why? Shan Yu is a contender for Mulan. I like the movie Mulan very much, but Shan Yu is a villain I've never been a fan of. It's probably the actor. It's the actor's voice. It just sounds a bit too pathetic. Like, you know, he has this sort of weirdly American voice. It's like, that girl had a doll. We should return it to her. And he doesn't do a lot in the film. Like, he's barely in it. So he didn't make much of an impression to me. Okay, Dinobot, thanks for the questions. See you later. Thanks very much. Hello to Land Before Time 75. Land Before Time 75. I'm going to be actually ending this video very soon, so if you have any last-minute questions, get them in the chat now before I decide to stop. Otherwise, I'll be missing out a few questions. Okay, Jack with his last question. Most attractive Doctor Who companions. You can include classic and new series. Ooh, okay. There's going to be more than one. Going from the beginning, Polly. Polly is very attractive. I think Polly is really sexy, and I think that's part of her character. She's described as being sort of sexy, sort of secretary. I think Anik Wills has a very nice figure, certainly back in the day. Zoe from the Patrick Troughton era. She's very good looking. I like her very much. She's a cutie. From the Pertwee era, Liz. Yeah, I think Liz is good looking. I'd say actually Elizabeth Sladen, Sarah Jane Smith, who's my favourite Doctor Who companion. She was quite a looker back in the day. She stayed with Pertwee and then Tom as well. Who else in Tom's era? There's a few. There's quite a lot in Tom's era. Lala Ward and Mary Tam, both of them are very attractive. They are very good-looking girls, and it's not hard to see why Tom and Lala fell in love. It's really not hard to see why he fell for her. I quite like Nyssa as well. Nyssa's cute. Nyssa and Tegan are cute, but they're not my most favorite. Perry is okay. Mel, take it or leave it. Ace, not seen much of Ace, to be fair, so I can't really say. Grace Holloway, okay, not too bad. Rose from Eccleston, yeah, Rose is okay. I think Billie Piper's a naturally good-looking lady. Martha's good. I mean, I'm not too attracted to her as it's sort of from Sorry, let me start again with Martha. I mean, she's pretty, but she's not the most attractive companion for me. But as a character, I love Martha. Donna, not really there for looks, which I like actually. She's there as a character, so she has a lot of great development. So I wouldn't say Donna is one of the more attractive ones. Amy Pond, she's very attractive. She's stunning. Karen Gillan is a stunning lady. Clara, she's cute, but everyone just finds her annoying. So yeah. Bill from Capaldi's era, take it or leave it. So I hope that kind of answers the question there. Sam Harrison, do you like Adam Sandler? Not really. I mean, there's a couple of films I'm partial to him, but I don't think he's all that, to be honest. Sam Harrison, why don't you like Adric? Adric's just annoying. He's kind of bossy. He's a bit of a know-it-all. He thinks he's smarter than everyone else. I mean, it's not so bad towards the end before he dies, in Davison's era. But to begin with, he just doesn't gel with the group. He certainly doesn't gel with Tom Baker. And to me, he's just annoying. Not in every story, but yeah, he's just not very good. I think he's too much of a show-off. He's too much of a know-it-all, and he has some pretty bad acting moments. I don't think Matthew Waterhouse is a particularly good actor, especially in Castrovalva when he's being chained up by the master, and he goes, "It's a trap! It's a trap!" It's so cringy. But yeah, I don't think he's the worst companion, but he's down on the lower part of the ranking. Sorry. Okay. Where am I up to? Favorite Bond ski chase? Ooh, I might have to go with The Spy Who Loved Me. At the very beginning of that film, there's an awesome ski chase where Bond manages to defeat the goons, and then he opens up the parachute with the Union Jack. That is a classic moment. I love that. That is incredible. And apparently, I mean, Jude Law said this in an interview that he saw the movie when it was released when he was a kid, and everybody stood up and applauded that moment. So that's incredible to know that. Why do you prefer Craig to Moore as Bond? I just think Daniel Craig is closer to Fleming's description of the character. I love Roger Moore's take on Bond, and I will always be a Roger Moore fan and defend Roger Moore, but Craig, to me, he's the most emotional James Bond. He's had a lot of emotional stuff in his era. I'm not saying everything in Craig's era was perfect. Certainly Quantum of Solace leaves a lot to be desired, and I know some people aren't happy with Spectre, but I really like that his Bond, you really see the journey. Like, he's evolved. He became Bond in Casino Royale, and now he's going to be retiring and leaving Bond in No Time to Die. So he's really gone on a character arc across the 5 films, and now the 5 films are connected. You really get to see his Bond evolve, and I think he's got it all. I think he's got the humor. He's tough. He's exceptionally fit. He's got the physique. I mean, look at the guy. He's great with the ladies. I think he's got the package, and I think his movies are some of the best. I know my reviews may seem a bit biased towards him, but I honestly, that's my opinion. I'm just honestly happy to spread the love for Daniel Craig as Bond, and I'm going to be sad to see him go in No Time to Die, but I look forward to his exit. Jack the Film Fanatic, bonus question. Which is better, The Godfather Part 3 or Back to the Future Part 3? Well, probably The Godfather Part 3. I do like Back to the Future Part 3, and I'm going to review the Back to the Future trilogy at some point. All three films. I do think the Back to the Future 3 is good. It's a nice end to the trilogy, but it wasn't my favorite. I think I haven't seen it for years, but I always thought the first one was my favorite. But yeah, like I said, I'll go into more detail later on. But The Godfather Part 3, I just thought, just from the emotional standpoint, it was better. I just thought. Some people may not agree with that, but just my opinion. Okay, I'm not going to take too many more questions because I'm wanting to end this soon. Probably go for another 15 minutes and then I'll call it a day. Okay, Tyler Bolton. Hello, Tyler. Thank you for your questions. Top 3 Doctors, go in order. So my favorite Doctor is David Tennant, number 1. Number 2 would be Tom Baker, easily. Number 3, I'm going to go with Patrick Troughton. So those are my 3. David Tennant, Tom Baker, and Patrick Troughton. Sam Harrison, why don't you like Jack Wade? I just don't think he's that necessary to the story. I just think he's a bit of he's trying to be a Sheriff Pepper of the Brosnan era. And I just think he's a very dull character. Joe Don Baker doesn't really have the same comedy chops as Clifton James, in my opinion. I don't hate the character. I don't think he's awful. I just don't really care for Jack Wade. I never thought he was that interesting. Okay. Where am I up to? Okay, Sam. Worst actor to play a Doctor Who companion. Gonna say Matthew Waterhouse as Adric. Obviously, I haven't seen Bonnie Langford yet, but I know that I hear she's pretty bad, so she could be on the list, but I haven't seen her yet. So, yeah. Sam, again, least favorite Doctor Who companion and why? Again, haven't seen every companion. Adric is one of the worst ones. Probably Clara, potentially. Again, for the reasons that I said earlier, I'm not going to repeat myself. Jack, bonus question. The worst thing about the twin dilemma, what pisses you off the most about it? I think just the fact that it really was the beginning of the end. It was the descent into the cesspit that the show had to crawl out of in 2005. I just think Colin Baker's era got off to a bad start, and he didn't make a good impression with his Doctor. The story was terrible. But the thing that annoys me most is that strangling scene when he strangles his own companion. That, is the worst thing you could have done. It sends a very bad message, and I know it was meant to resemble the Doctor's confusion in his head, like he was having post-regenerative trauma, or PRSTD. No, that doesn't work. Yeah, but anyway, yeah. So I just think the whole thing's a mess. Basically, I'll get to the twin dilemma soon because I'm going to be on season 21 in the reviews very shortly. Sam Harrison, do you like Davison as the Doctor so far? He's okay. I mean, he's not my favorite Doctor, but I've grown to appreciate him a bit more since doing the reviews. But he's never my favorite Doctor. He's a bit too human, I think. He doesn't come across as very alien or eccentric. And I mean, he's young, he's athletic. Well, I say that, but he has this sort of breathing problem every so often. I can't get into him as the Doctor, but some of his stories are quite good. He's got a very inconsistent era, but overall, I'd say he's okay, but he'd be on the lower end of the ranking to me. Jack the Film Fanatic, favorite porn star? Unfortunately, that's a question I cannot answer. More's the pity. Unless you want me to say you, then Tyler Ball. Interesting. Haven't watched one Patrick Troughton as of yet. What episode would you recommend starting with? Well, to be fair, Tyler, start with the beginning. Start with Power of the Daleks. It's missing, but there's an animation of it. If you don't want to watch the animation, then perhaps start with. Trying to think. There isn't really one complete story because a lot of it's missing. I'd say I think Enemy of the World is a good one to start with because he plays another character as well. But I think The Power of the Daleks is a good one, obviously because it's the first story he's in. Trying to remember his stories. The Mind Robber. Watch The Mind Robber. That's a really good story. That's my favorite Troughton story. He gives a great performance there. You should definitely watch his era. It's only 3 seasons long. Some of the stories are a bit long, but they're very entertaining. Okay. Most overrated and underrated actor. I think I've already answered this. I don't know if you asked me this already, Sam. I don't know. I think I've actually answered this. I think, yeah, you already asked me this. I least favorite actor and why. I said Jason Statham earlier. I'm not going to go over that again. Do you like Sheriff Pepper? I do. Yes, I like him, but I don't think he's all that necessary in The Man with the Golden Gun. I don't mind him in Live and Let Die, although he does get a bit overused. In The Man with the Golden Gun, he has no place in the story whatsoever. But I think he's funny. You know, he has some good moments. Clifton James is funny. And of course, it was a product of the time. But yeah, he's not the best character in the series. Jack the Filmanator, your favorite story of classic Who so far? That's a good question. The Deadly Assassin is probably a contender. That one is a masterpiece. It's so good. It really is. I also really like the Daleks Master Plan, even though some of it's missing. So potentially those two are two of my favorite stories in the classic series because they wowed me. They blew me away. 10 more minutes and then I'm calling it a day. So yeah. Any questions that come after the next 10 minutes, I won't be answering. I'm sorry. It's just I can't have this go on forever. Jack, your favorite? Oh no, I've already answered that. Favorite Bond villain outfit and why? Sam Harrison. Bond villain outfit. I guess I have to go with Blofeld because it's so iconic. Sort of like the Nehru and everything. It just he looks smart, but he looks like he means business. So and it is over the top, but in a good way. In a good way, and it's a nice differentiation from Bond. So I'd say that. We'll be doing a Roger Moore reflection tomorrow. Yes, Jack, Alan, and myself are doing a Roger Moore reflection tomorrow. Tyler Bolton. Also, do you like Matt Smith as the Doctor? Noticed he wasn't in your top 3. Did he narrowly miss out? Funny you should say that. I know you would think that because my name is Mr. TARDIS 11, but I only chose that because it was a name. Mr. TARDIS 10 doesn't really have a good ring to it. Matt Smith is a Doctor I like, yes. He's probably... He's halfway up the list somewhere, mainly because some of his stories are very inconsistent in the writing. But as a performer, as an actor, I think Matt Smith is incredible. He's a great actor, and he did a great job with his version of the Doctor. But I fell in love with David Tennant's version of the Doctor, so Matt Smith was never going to come to that level. But I still appreciate Matt Smith for what he did. Sam Harrison, first classic Doctor Who story you saw? That's a good question. Not sure. I can't remember. So I guess I'll say An Unearthly Child because that was the first one I reviewed, but it definitely wasn't the first one I saw. I can't remember, unfortunately. Tyler Bolton. And lastly, your favorite Tennant episode? Mine personally is The Waters of Mars. That's a great choice. I don't have a favorite Tennant episode at the moment. Well, oh no, tell a lie, I do. It would have to be Utopia, Sound of Drums, Last of the Time Lords, which is my favorite Doctor Who story of all time. So that story to me is just epic. I love it. It's great for Tennant as the Doctor. He gets some fantastic acting moments. It's a great story for Martha as the companion. It's an epic end to that series. And John Simmer's the Master, and Derek Jacobi is the Master. So you couldn't have asked for more. It's brilliant. But The Waters of Mars is a close. I will do I think I'll do top 5 or top 10 best stories of each era when I've reviewed all the stories. That's how I'm going to keep up Doctor Who content on my channel. I'll do rankings and stuff after I do the reviews. Sam, top 5 silliest Bond films. Okay, and whether I like these films or not is indifferent to the list. Diamonds Are Forever would probably be at the top. Moonraker would be there as well. Octopussy, I think, is actually quite silly. What other ones are there? Die Another Day, of course. Yeah, so Diamonds Are Forever, Moonraker, Octopussy, Die Another Day, and one more. Um, I don't know. I guess Tomorrow Never Dies. Maybe. I suppose. I suppose Tomorrow Never Dies. Yeah, I think the plot is silly for that film. Um, Jack, the film fanatic, sexiest Bond girl. Ooh, if you ask me to choose one, that's very difficult. There's so many. There's so many sexy Bond girls. Honey Rider. I think I'll choose Honey Rider because she was the first. She wasn't the first Bond girl, but she was the first main character who was a Bond girl. I'll choose her. But there's also other ones like Barbara Bach is so sexy. Lois Charles, Catherine Shell from On Her Majesty's Secret Service. I have a massive crush on Catherine Shell from back in the day. Anyway, Diana Rigg, who rest in peace, sadly passed away recently. Diana Rigg, definitely. Eva Green is another one who plays Vesper. I think Leia Seydoux is incredibly sexy in Spectre. But my number one would probably be Ursula Andress as Honey Rider. Sam Harrison, funniest Bond villain and why? Oh, that's a good question. Funniest one. It would obviously be from one of the more sillier films. I mean, I suppose I don't know. That's a difficult question. I haven't thought about that. Funniest villain. Potentially Charles Gray because of because of Diamonds Are Forever and how campy the film is. I mean, I don't like the film, but I think he's good in it, and he's quite funny in some of his moments. So potentially him. Well, Jonathan Pryce in Tomorrow Never Dies. He's hilariously funny. Okay. Oh God, another few more minutes. Your opinion, Jack. Your opinion on Herbert Lomas, Inspector Dreyfus. What makes him so funny? Well, he's a very comedically talented actor, and comedy is very hard to pull off. And he does it all with good grace. I mean, he's just so funny. He has some of the best moments in the Pink Panther franchise. And honestly, I kind of wish that after Sellers passed away, if they wanted to continue the series, they should have just continued with him. Make it about Dreyfus, not necessarily doing Clouseau's job, but focus on Dreyfus's character and what he was going through. Because I don't know if he ever really mentally recovered from his his outburst, to say his mental relapse. I mean, they kind of imply he did, but then he didn't really. It's it gets a bit convoluted, but yeah, and he's definitely the best Dreyfus. Oh, thank you, Tyler. Thanks very much for supporting the channel. Much appreciated. Favorite Michael Caine film? This might be an odd one, but Zulu. I really like Zulu. I haven't seen a lot of Michael Caine films. He's in a lot of Christopher Nolan movies, so potentially The Dark Knight, actually. But without Christopher Nolan, Zulu. This is a film that I want to review, actually. It's a really good film. It's one of his first films, actually, Michael Caine. He was quite young when he did it. And that's a film which has an incredible battle scene at the very end, or towards the end anyway. It's a very good film. I watched it once years ago, so I must review it. Jack, are you ever thinking of reviewing Food Fight or Holmes and Watson? Food Fight, I will probably do an extreme epic major effing rant on it. It is that bad. And Holmes and Watson, possibly. I have no plans to at the moment. Sam Harrison, thoughts on The Inbetweeners? I've not seen the show. I've watched the two films. The films aren't bad. They're okay. I thought the second one got a bit ridiculous when they were in the desert. The show, I've never seen it, so I should maybe check it out. Jack, most powerful moment of The Godfather and your favorite scene of the character from the trilogy? Oh, that's a tough question. Favorite scene? I don't know. There's loads of scenes. Obviously, the films are so long, so there's loads of scenes. I'd say probably my favorite scene is the end of the second film when Fredo dies. Not because he dies, but because it's a moment where Michael realizes what the audience has been realizing this whole time, what he's done. Michael sort of realizes, the extent, like how far he's gone. Like he's tipped himself over the edge. He's had his own brother killed, and how that's going to mentally affect him now. And it's a moment of change. It's where the character really has just fallen from grace. Like Michael is almost, he's not the same person as he was in the first film, and certainly at the start of the second film. So, and also it's an emotionally powerful scene because Fredo dies as well. So just in that sense, it's very sad. My favorite character from the trilogy, it's a tough one. There's quite a lot of characters. I guess Michael is the obvious one because he is the protagonist. But I think Fredo is because he's kind. You know, he's the nicest character of the lot. Or actually, no, Kay. I think Kay is my favorite character. The one who marries Michael, because she has to put up with a lot of crap from him as well. So I think Kay and possibly Fredo, they're possibly my favorite characters. They might be odd choices, but they're the ones I guess I probably feel more sympathy for. Okay, I'm going to call it there soon, guys. So, Sam, after your most recent question, I'm going to cut it there. Sam, worst performance by a Bond villain? I think you've already asked me this. I don't know. Probably Gustav Graves, Toby Stevens in Die Another Day. Terrible villain. Absolutely terrible villain. Oh, God. Jack the Film Fanatic, opinions on what you've seen of Never Say Never Again? Well, I saw 40 minutes of it, and it was horse shit. It's basically. But what I will do is I will actually do a rant on it, and that is coming. I promise you guys, it is coming. I know we've had the lockdown and everything. I needed a break from Bond after I reviewed Spectre to continue Doctor Who reviews, but I think in October I'm going to review Never Say Never Again and Casino Royale 1967. So you've got those to look forward to. I'll dish my full dirt on those films. Sam, 2 more questions, both from Sam. Do you like Nando's? Yes, I do, actually. And actually, before the lockdown, in the town where I live, there was a Nando's that opened before, like, around Christmas time, before, like, I think December it opened, which I really appreciated. I mean, now they're only open for like takeaways because of the coronavirus. But yeah, I like Nando's, and it was nice to finally have one in my town. You know, I think their food is nice. I love spicy chicken. I love it. Sam, favorite and least favorite alcohol, and why? Favorite alcohol, it's probably beer, but I also do like Jack Daniels and Coke. They sell them in cans as well, and I like drinking those. And rum and Coke as well, vodka and Coke. So vodka, rum, Jack Daniels and Coke I like, but beer is usually what I normally drink. Least favorite alcohol, don't know, probably cider, just because I can't actually drink cider because I'm allergic to apples. So I can't. I guess I'd have to say that by default. And final question from Jack the Film Fanatic: your favorite scene or shot in Raging Bull? That's hard because I'm trying to remember the film. It's been a while since I've seen it. It's oh God, I don't know. That's a hard scene. It's hard thing to remember. There was a scene I remember which was quite dramatic when I think his wife, Jake LaMotta's wife, was gonna leave him. I remember that quite well. And then there was a moment, I think he punched his brother. Those were quite powerful moments. But I don't remember specific shots too well. I think the ending shot, when we see him completely overweight and he's sort of lost his way, he's fallen from grace. I mean, that was kind of sad. You know, the ending was kind of sad. Yeah, that's all I can think of. So I'm going to call it there, guys. Thank you very much to all of you for jumping in at the last minute. Obviously, I received a lot of questions, which was fantastic. So thank you all so much for the questions, especially Sam Harrison. You asked me loads of questions. And yeah, I need to go and rest my voice. I'm parched. But thank you very much. And again, thanks to all of you out there. If you're not watching this live, thank you very much for supporting me. And, you know, for being one of my many 700 subscribers. I'm slightly over that now, but yeah, here's to the next set. Oh, needed that. So yeah, I might do more Q&As like this, doing it live. I think it's nicer because then people get an answer straight away. So I hope my answers were Okay, to the people that asked the questions, thank you so much to all the people in the live chat. So Jack, Sam, Lauren, Alan, Tyler, Lambert Full Time Person, Dinobot, Hockey Guy 1 as well, Henok Gogbred Garris as well, and everyone else. Awesome Productions, New Two Step Entertainment, thank you both very much. And I think I will call it there. So, yeah, thank you very much, everyone. And, oh, yeah, sorry, Jack. Yes, I did like the jailbreak scene when he did, not jailbreak, sorry, when he broke down in jail. Yeah, that was a very, very good scene. Anyway, thank you all very much. And until next time, I'm Mr. Tarnus 11. See ya.